Hi guys, Keith here. Welcome to the video. In today's video, video summary of the podcast that we have out now. Have you checked it out? If not, you definitely should. Links are below. But in the podcast that's out now, we talk about something we haven't talked about before. We usually keep it travel related, and this time we're talking about cruising. If that's something you're into or you're just curious about our thoughts on cruising, you should stick around. All right, let's get into it. Roll that intro. All right, guys, if this is your first time finding us, we do travel content. We do various locations like Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Disney, and we got some Hawaii stuff coming your way real soon. That's the main show we have coming out every Wednesday. But we also have this podcast thing we do every other Saturday. And this video is just like a summary, just a quick summary of what's in the podcast. So you can go get an idea of what's out there and go check it out. We're on all the major podcasting links like Apple, Spotify, and Google Play. All those links are below. Also, if this is your first time finding us, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of this awesome travel content we got. We give you travel tips and things like that. And the next few months are going to be real fun and loaded with travel content. All right, enough about that. Let's get into the reason you're here, right? Just before we get too deep, though, just a reminder, this video is going to be just a quick summary. It's not our in-depth thoughts of it. And when I say us, I mean me and Eric, because that's who does the podcast. But anyway, so cruising. It's sort of, we sort of were hot and heavy on it there for a little bit. Like we did Disney cruises, we did NCL, we've done Carnival. Thought about lots of Royal Caribbeans, but just never quite made it there to Royal Caribbean. But in the podcast, we talk about which cruise lines are favorite. And we just do the main four, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Disney, and NCL. I'm sure there's other cool cruise lines out there, but like we were thinking, for the most part, we didn't want to go too deep in things we don't know, because,
Oh, come on. Everything the guy says sounds fake.
That's not my problem.
It wouldn't be real good to, give a review, a full-on review of something that we've never cruised on, right? So we didn't do that for you, but we kept it in what we do, stayed in our lane here, and ranked them for you. Without giving too much away, what do you guys think is our favorite cruise line out of those four that I just listed? Leave a comment down below. And then go check out the podcast to find out if you're right. I will say this, if you guessed Carnival, spoiler alert, that's kind of our least favorite. I've taken at least a couple Carnival cruises, and it just, compared to the other ones, is not my favorite for various reasons that you'll have to go check out the podcast for. But it's okay. It's a great budget-friendly option, but would it be my first choice of cruise lines? No, not by a long shot. Also, if you don't know, these cruise lines, have private islands in the Caribbean. Well, I don't think Carnival does, or maybe they do. I don't know. But we talk about things like that, like amenities that you can get. Like I know Disney has their private island, and Royal Caribbean and NCL all have their private islands in the Caribbean. So we sort of give you an overview of that too. We don't really talk about itineraries and things like that because that's up to you. If you want to take a Caribbean cruise, take a Caribbean cruise. We just mainly talk about our experience with the cruise line in general, like amenities that you'll get on board, what we think about the dining options that you have on board. That's always a good one, right? What's the best place to eat on these things, or which one has the best food? Spoiler alert, none of them are great. I mean, there's some good options, but cruising in general really isn't about a foodie adventure I've never really experienced. There's some good options, but if you're hoping for a foodie adventure on a cruise line, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. Also, what's important to us is if the cruise line is family friendly and things like that, because obviously we have children and we want to know what's the atmosphere and what kind of environment are you going to run into on these cruise lines? What's the different type of clientele and things like that would take a Carnival cruise versus who would take a Disney cruise, So we sort of talk about our experiences with that too, because that's very important. And I didn't really realize this until we were cruising so much, that there's you can tell a difference in the people, and I'm not saying like from a class standpoint or anything like that, but it's just a different mentality on each cruise, and one's not better than the other as far as that goes. But just so you're aware of what you might run into on these different cruises, we talk about our experiences there too. And when I say that, I'm like more like, is it more like a club atmosphere? Is it more like social? Is it more like family oriented? Things like that. We sort of like go over which cruise line feels like what, really. And also we sort of like talk about the pricing and things like that too, to give you like ballparks of like where each one falls. And our basis of like the rankings was not based on the price, but that is something important to consider when you're talking about taking a cruise. If you're more budget conscious, you might want to take X cruise line. If you're looking for a more family friendly thing, you might want to take this cruise line. You guys could probably fill the blanks here, but we definitely take a deep dive into this. Eric and I take a deep dive into this and give you like all the like important overviews of what we think of each cruise line and things like that. And this podcast is actually probably the longest podcast we've done so far because there's just a lot. It's under an hour, but it's definitely longer than what our other ones have been. So there's a lot of good information out there. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off here. I don't want you guys to like spend too much time on this video when you should be listening to that podcast. But anyway, don't forget we got those sweet merch. Links are down below. If you're more interested in like Patreon, like a monthly support type of thing, we have that too. Links are below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. Peace and love.